award-winning dog groomer in South Jersey managed to expand her business in the middle of this pandemic. The Posh Pooch held a special grand opening celebration yesterday in Cherry Hill. Owner Erin Fitzpatrick's dad doubled as a mascot, waving to drivers along Grace Road. Fitzpatrick says the coronavirus pandemic definitely made growing her business difficult.
We were shut down for about 8 weeks, and then grooming was changed to essential. So grooming, luckily, has been very busy. We've been very fortunate. My goal is to get my story out there to as many people as possible. I'm currently working on a book, and I'm doing different interviews with podcasts and reaching out online, and just trying to really, I want people to understand that no matter how low you go, there's always hope. You can always pull yourself out.
Welcome, everyone. This is Austin. This is Flashpoint Friday. It's also Good Friday. It's Easter weekend. It's a time of resurrection. It's a time of new beginnings. It's a time of cleansing. It's a time for a lot of things. That's why I'm excited for today's guest. How does one go from addiction to successful entrepreneur and empowerment coach? Well, therein lies the story. So settle in for this and help me welcome Erin Fitzpatrick to Flashpoint Friday.
Hi everyone.
Erin, I'm so glad to have you with me today. How are you feeling today on this Good Friday?
I'm very excited. I'm very grateful to be here. I love Easter. I love the holiday, and I'm excited to spend it with my family. So it's beautiful, beautiful weekend ahead.
Erin, you have quite a story, and I know you're impacting people all over right now as you come out and tell your story, because it's really an incredible story. I've had some early feedback on the book which we'll talk about, and the feedback that I'm getting is just amazing, Erin, about what you've been able to overcome. So I'm grateful that you're here today, and I'm trusting that this interview is going to serve a lot of people. Are you ready to kind of dive into this and share your story here to the world? Yeah, definitely. I'm ready. So let's talk about you. A lot has happened to get you here, and I think today's topic is going to really hit home for a lot of people, because it's a topic that can kind of be hidden or brushed under the rug for a lot of people. But we're going to bring it out today because we want to help people. So let's go back a little bit, and welcome Mandy. Welcome to the show. Let's go back a little bit and talk about this incredible journey that got you here. And I want to set this up real quick. I want to set this up because I'm gonna grab a line from the book where you said, I wouldn't wish my story on anyone, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. It's my gift to the world. I thought that was so beautiful. So let's go back a little bit, and maybe we can start from where this all happened. Absolutely. It's definitely been a long journey, but it is something I can now look back and I'm really grateful for. It's made me the woman that I am today. It's made me as ambitious and compassionate as I am today. If you would have met me, I'm 29 now, but if you met me when I was 20, 21, most people would imagine that I would be dead by now. From the ages of 15 to 21, I was a heavy drug user that landed me in jails, rehab centers, homeless, and bouncing all over the place, not really having any sense of direction. And I was slowly killing myself. I had a great family growing up who supported everything I did. So I can't really, say that my addiction started somewhere with trauma, which I think is a misconception, because I don't believe that you necessarily have to have any trauma in your past to become an addict, which you do hear quite often. But I never really I always felt like I didn't really fit in
for whatever reason. So in my teens, I started to hang out with the quote unquote bad crowd and started smoking weed, and it just snowballed from there. So I tried about every drug under the sun, but opiates was really my go-to. And unfortunately, in this day and age, you hear, especially around the major cities and in South Jersey where we are, it's probably about 50% of my graduating class actually became addicted to drugs. It was a huge epidemic, and it's still something that's battling today. So I really hope that I can spread some love and encouragement to the people and the families that are struggling at this time. When I first got clean, when I was 21, I still carried a lot of the same behaviors with me to get where I am today. So a lot of the same like negative self-talk. I still had a lot of self-loathing and shame and guilt, and I carried that over with me after I got clean for a number of years. And that's just, I realized that's not how I wanted to live my life. I wasn't happy. I wasn't miserable. I didn't get clean to live a miserable life. I wanted fulfillment. I wanted something more. I wanted to do something with myself. And it definitely wasn't an easy journey. Surrounding myself with people who could really help lift me up, diving into, my spirituality and different self-help books and yoga, meditation, anything that I could kind of grasp and get my hands on. I tried and see what worked for me. And it was a process of learning and, trial and error. And I would go back up and I would fall back down, mentally and emotionally. So it's a process to go through, but the point is, don't give up. Keep trying, keep reaching out and see what works for you. And it absolutely is possible to better your life and to feel fulfilled. Once that seed was planted and I found what worked for me and I kept working at it, I just wanted to keep leveling up every step that I could. And my passion has always been my dogs and my animals. And I was talented at when I was a teen, I was in competitive grooming, and I was known for my grooming skills nationally as a teen before I kind of started going downhill. So that my dogs were the one thing that was kind of the light in my life during this dark time. And when I started to discover myself, I turned back to it and really grasped onto it and decided to open up my salon. And now that I have been, very successful with my business, I did major in social work at some point. I've always wanted to reach back and help other people who struggled with the things that I've been, because I know how important it is to have that support and, to have people who understand what you're going through around you. So that was what led me to becoming a women's empowerment coach. So I get to do two things that I absolutely love, which is working with people and working with animals today. And yeah, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, it's amazing that, when someone says, because in the video, I took a clip from the summit that we had, the Flashpoint summit, which you were a part of, and you had some great words to say. But a lot of times you hear the words that someone says, but it's who says it. Because in that video, you said you want to give people hope. You want them to know that no matter how dark it is, it's not the end. And the words sound great, but the fact that you're saying them and you've been there, you've been at the lowest point that anyone could go to, and got to see you now. I mean, even Mandy saying like, wow, it's hard to believe. Like, you look at you now, you would never imagine that's even possible. Like, that you could have been there, and that and not only that, and then you're able to turn that around. I mean, it's a do you ever like stop and think about, like, have you ever heard, or maybe through the contrast of a classmate's story of where you've heard the stories of people that didn't turn it around and it didn't go that way? I mean, do you ever stop? I mean, that's just such an incredible gift. I mean, you must wake up certain days and just be like, so grateful to be alive and to have this life that you've built.
Absolutely. And I lost a lot of friends, a lot of people that I know And I know I am one of the lucky ones. I don't know, there was many times where I really shouldn't have made it. And that is something I do hear quite often is like, you look at me now and you would never imagine where I've been. And yeah, I can show you pictures and of not even my worst. And it's like, I was at the lowest of the low of the low. Like I was, living on the streets and abandoned buildings in Overtown, Miami. It's the journey part of this. So this kind of goes into the fact of like how I got to sharing my story. For years, I was so filled with shame and embarrassment that I would hide it. And I think part of what has pushed me to become, an entrepreneur and the best version of myself that I can be is almost the fact that I want to be as far away from the end, from where I was. And so I was, I wanted to hide it from everybody. If you didn't know me back then, my best friends recently, they wouldn't even know anything about my past. So the journey, I always knew that my story was for a reason. And it was just me finding the courage to come out with the story because I know how much it could help serve people who are struggling. And I know that is what my life, my purpose is for. Like I had said in the book, like my story is not my own. It's for everybody. It's everybody's story to learn from. And coming to that point where I really, was ready to tell my story so I can help other people was one of the greatest challenges that I've ever faced, but it's one of the most beautiful transformations that I've ever overcome too. It's just the greatest weight off my shoulder, and hearing from other people who can relate to my story and the families, and that outreach has been absolutely beautiful. And that just validates exactly why, I went through what I went through and why I'm doing what I'm doing to help other people.
Yeah, you really are doing it. And I just want to give a shout out to the audience listening. Thank you for being here. Please share this because there's a lot of people, and this is not just about addiction, but addiction's a part of the story. And there's a lot of people, and I know personally have gone through this, and I've worked with people and I've had friends. This is not going away. And Erin's message needs to be spread, that there is hope. Someone could see this that could make a difference. And the other thing, Erin, that I really want to highlight this, because I think a lot of parents can put so much pressure on themselves and they can feel like they're to blame. And I think it's important that you said you didn't have any trauma. You had good parents. You grew up in a good home. So what would you say to the parents out there that maybe they're in the middle of this and they're blaming themselves and they don't know what to do and they don't know where to go? Like, what would you say to the parents out there that might be dealing with something like this with their child?
Yeah, my mom has asked me over and over what could she have done differently, and tells me if she would have changed, if she could have handcuffed me to the bed, she would have. There was absolutely no controlling me. They were great parents. They didn't do anything wrong. And that's the thing that almost scares me is like when I become a parent, I don't know what I would have done differently. If I don't even know myself, how can anybody know? So it's not your fault. Just do the best that you can. Listen to the experts. One of the best things that my parents did for me, and at the time I hated them for it, was cut me off. And you can support somebody without enabling them, and the person might be angry and not see it at the time, but everybody has their own journey. And even though it's hard because you're scared for their safety, it could be the thing that saves them ultimately.
Yeah.
So you cannot control anybody else's actions. Yeah.
Yeah. So give some Erin some love here. Let us know you're watching. I mean, and especially for the parents out there, I think this is really important, because I would say that a lot of love and a lot of prayers were sent your way. And, and the thing is here's the beautiful gift, is that how many lives are you going to impact? Like your mom's in this journey with you, your family. How many lives are you going to impact because you made it? Like you're here. That means, there's a purpose for you, and you're doing it, and you're coming on here. You were you got your book there. So we got the book, The Flashpoint, your turnaround story. Erin's story is in this book that we just completed, and there's a reason for it all. So Erin, I congratulate you. We got some folks on here. I relate so much to this, Erin. Anilda's on. I don't know if you met Anilda yet. You'll have to meet her. She's amazing. And if you're listening to this, give us some hearts. Share this, because I know people are especially now with the pandemic we've gone through. How many people have accelerated into the bad behavior, or going deeper down the tunnel? So I really want to highlight, because your story, I'd like to highlight maybe a moment, going back, where there was a moment when I call it a visceral moment, where you were like, you knew things had to change, because there's this, while you're in that journey, you're going in that direction, there's probably this feeling that you have that this isn't right, but I'm just like, I'm doing it anyway. But then there's a moment, and your turnaround, I think you talked about getting clean, but that's not recovery. They're two separate things. So, and then I also want to talk about like the amazing work that you're doing today. Like, I want to get into that future, but is there a moment that you can remember where you just said, oh my God, like I got to change this?
For getting clean, I think it was a lead up and a progression of things. But I know for me, the last shell that I shed to come into my new life, I think, is breaking up with my 6-year relationship. I was so codependent, and I met him when I was using, and he was dealing at the time. And, it was just a very toxic relationship. We did help each other grow, but it was very toxic. And I know after that is when I just really blossomed. And the point where we broke up, I was like, I'm done. I didn't cry. I was ready to move on. I knew this is what I needed to do for my personal growth. And that was me leaving the last of my old self behind so I can create this new life. And that was really my flashpoint from my old self into my new self, I see.
It's a progression. So you kind of like, we're going through this progression of almost like an awakening, or a slow realization. And you kind of shed this last shell, and you said, that's it. I'm going in the other direction. And things started to turn around for you.
Exactly.
Now, do you remember, like, when you started that journey, was there a moment when you realized like that's an old chapter now? It's not a part of me anymore. Like it's not that it's not a part of me, but that chapter's closed. I'm in a new chapter. I'm reinventing. I'm recreating.
I think I knew. That's a tough question.
Good.
I think.
We got the cowbell here. The cowbell. And I forgot to mention, we got the hourglass. We use the hourglass here because it just while you're thinking about that question. It's the represents the time passing, right? You see it. You can see the sand dripping, right? But what counts is the very middle of the hourglass is the current moment, right? It's always there. So we bring this up to highlight it during the flashpoint that yes, time is progressing. We are progressing, but we must remember to look at the middle and stay in the middle where life is happening. And then we have the cowbell to accent these moments. And I like, and the reason why I'm doing this now, Erin, is because you said that's a tough question, because it's going to get you to like maybe think about a new perspective.
Yeah. I don't know if I would probably have to think about that one.
Okay, let's let that marinate. We got some time. So what we're looking for from you is this moment where you knew that the old chapter was gone, like the old chapter was closed. And as I look at you today, you're living this new chapter, right? And so maybe we can dive into that. And I'm going to share that video again. Why don't we do that right now? I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to share, I want to share a video with you that I opened up with. So if you missed it, you'll see it right now. And then when we come back, We're going to hear about what Erin's doing today, stepping into women's empowerment coach, and then what the plans are, the future are. So we'll be right back.
And an award-winning dog groomer in South Jersey managed to expand her business in the middle of this pandemic. The Posh Pooch held a special grand opening celebration yesterday in Cherry Hill. Owner Erin Fitzpatrick's dad doubled as a mascot, waving to drivers along Brace Road. Fitzpatrick says the coronavirus pandemic definitely made growing her business difficult.
We were shut down for about 8 weeks, and then grooming was changed to essential. So grooming, luckily, has been very busy. We've been very fortunate. My goal is to get my story out there to as many people as possible. I'm currently working on a book, and I'm doing different interviews with podcasts and reaching out online, and just trying to really, I want people to understand that no matter how low you go, there's always hope. You can always pull yourself out.
All right, this is Austin. I'm back. Let's help me welcome Erin back to the show, and let's get into what's happening now and in this incredible future. Erin, welcome back.
Thanks, Austin.
So that was the summit that you were at. That was a really fun thing, and to be able to get you on there and share your story. So let's talk about what's going on right now. Like, I know there's lots of doors opening for you right now, right?
Yeah. So we have a lot of exciting things going on, both in regards, my dog salon,
the Posh Pooch.
The Posh Pooch. So we have some new exciting expansions and things that we're offering. So we're growing. And then with my coaching business, I'm, working with more and more women every day, and that's just a beautiful thing. And then we also have my mom and my sister and I. My mom and my sister are both authors. We're writing my current book, my life story. It's in the early stages right now, but it is something that I am really looking forward to, and I know they are too. And it's amazing because I had an awful relationship with my family at one point, and my sisters, despised me. I made my family's life miserable, and today we have such a beautiful relationship. And the fact that we're doing this together is such like a symbol of healing and growth. And it's just, that's one of the things that I look back on. I'm just like, wow, wow, it's amazing where I am today with my, my life and my family. Just the relationship I have with my family is beautiful.
It's beautiful, Art. It's such a healing. And for them, how do you feel with them? Like, what they're doing and working with you on this, you must just be so humbled and grateful.
I am. Yeah, I definitely am. It's really, my sister and I cried about it together, when we were talking, when we were planning all of this, just looking back at the journey and how far our relationship has come. And I love them. I couldn't be any more grateful for my family and everything that they've done for me and everything that we're doing together. So, yeah.
And so what's the name of the book did you have a name of the book yet? And maybe like a release date?
Not yet. So, we're still, so there's a few moving parts, but if you follow my Facebook page, there'll definitely be updates. So that's probably the best place to look for the updates coming up for the book and anything else that we're working on.
So make sure you put that link in here so people can get a hold of you and keep track, because this is an exciting journey. It's happening right now. And so you got the book coming out. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What type of women typically will hire you? Because it's incredible. You have this incredible business that you're building with the Posh Pooch. And I know we've talked privately. I know you got plans for that. and plans to work with more women and to really, and like I said, for you to go through what you've gone through and to say that there's always hope. I mean, that means something. So what type of women are you working with typically?
It really varies, but women, I basically help women find their passion, their power, their purpose, and their inner peace. So regardless of where you are in life, I have clients who are in a great space and they just want to level up, who are newly starting businesses, and want empowerment and direction. Women who kind of feel stuck, maybe not in the happiest space, and they want to try to get out of that and find their passion or their purpose. So anyone who just wants guidance and direction and accountability, I'm here to help. And I love the most amazing thing is seeing the transition and the growth, and the journey with people. It's absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. And I want to highlight this because you are interesting because you have a successful entrepreneur career. Like you're successful as an entrepreneur, and you have this incredible story of overcoming. That's what is going to make you extremely effective in working with other people and helping other people to be empowered. So it's an incredible journey. And, I just want to give a shout out to your parents because just because I can only, imagine the support that they had to make that tough decision. And then to be able to go on that journey with you. And I was fortunate enough to meet your mom, and amazing, so I know, God, it's just such a blessing. And I'm just very excited about what you're going to do in this world and the people that you're going to help. And I really believe you're just getting started.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you.
Yeah. So what's next? Let's talk. We got a couple minutes. Let's talk about, do you have like a future vision, that you, as you sit here today on, what is it, April 2nd?
Yeah.
Good Friday, Flashpoint Friday. What do you see?
So my vision, I love doing what I do in both aspects with my salon and people, but my plan is I'm currently working full time as a groomer and running the business and trying to do coaching. So I'm transitioning into moving away from grooming and maybe just grooming specialty clients 1 or 2 days a week, so I can focus more on my actual business end of both my dog business and be able to focus more on my coaching business as well. So that frees up more time for me to help more people and to really, focus on growing both ends. And then potentially open up a second location with my salon. So there's a few options that are in the far future that we have, but right now the goal is to kind of step back, focus on the business end, and being able to free up more time to help more people. And so that's where I am right now. But I'm very excited. It's a really exciting transition. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yes, and I am too. I'm looking forward to watching it grow. And I just want to give a shout out for April 9th. We're going to have that weekend, we're doing a formal launch of Flashpoint. Your turnaround story starts here. Erin's in the book, and we want to do everything we can to make this a bestseller for all the authors involved. I've had some folks read it, and they said they couldn't wait to pick it up, and they couldn't put it down after they read it because of the stories that are in here, and Erin's is one of them. So I highly recommend, mark that on your calendar for April 9th. We definitely want to get this book to the world. And it's a nice segue, Erin, for your full story, which your full book. So we don't know when that's coming out. We're going to keep an eye on you for sure. But in the meantime, people can absolutely get a portion of your story in this, in the Flashpoint. Your turnaround story starts here. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm excited that you're here. Any final thought before we say goodbye to everyone here?
I just want everyone to know that you are in control of your own life. Remember that. And you get to make the decisions that change your life today, and you choose how you feel and the direction that your life will go. So you are in control. That's what I want.
Great message, Erin. So what we'll do is we're going to put Erin's contact information in the chats. Look for it there. My name's Austin. This is Flashpoint Friday. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. Bye for now.